It's Wednesday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Alabama Slam Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Hanna.
What's going on, guys? It's Patrick Akers.
And it's me, Steven.
And we have got a lot of stuff to cover today. It's kind of opposites in terms of how much wrestling we're actually going to discuss. We're going to discuss Elimination Chamber, which only had 4 matches from this past weekend, and we're going to preview the Revolution card, which has approximately 13,000 matches listed. I think everybody from the roster may have a match.
They just add another one.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into Elimination Chamber. It was okay. I mean, I was entertained, but Patrick pointed out that out of a 4-hour show, there was about an hour and a half worth of wrestling.
Yeah, something like that. Somebody tweeted that. Which, listen, that's what they do, right? They're an entertainment company first before they're a wrestling company, it feels like, which is, that's their prerogative. That's what they do. I mean, it is a spectacle. Nobody else is doing stadium shows with pyro the way the WWE is.
I wouldn't have I would have noticed. I would have thought about it at some point, maybe, because I was like, at one point I was like, we really only get 4 matches. Well, we had the Grayson Waller effect as well.
Right.
That took a little time.
20-something minutes.
But at one point I was like, is this really going to be 4 hours? And then
they did it. they did it.
I see. I watched this one differently because there was no way in hell I was getting up at 4 a.m.
No.
See, I started it. Let's see. When I woke up, Rhea Ripley was making her entrance when I turned it on.
Oh.
So I saw the main event first and then went back. And
I see. I didn't.
The rest of it.
I started. I did not want to Saturday night.
I think it was mid-afternoon, but I fast forwarded. I was like, I know what the entrances are. I don't need this. I don't need that. So we just did that. I'll be honest. I watched every single damn one of them Australian tourism commercials, and I've never wanted to travel more.
Especially for these stadium shows, the entrances for some of these people are so long because literally the walk to the ring is like 40 seconds, unless you're just damn near sprinting. It is a long walkway. They kind of pare down all of the screens because obviously they're trying to put as many people in these stadiums as possible, but like it's a lot. It's a lot of just walking.
The hour and a half did shock me though, because it felt like both of the Elimination Chambers went longer than the 40 minutes that they went. I felt like they were full hours, but
I mean, the tweet that I saw, I think it might have been like 140 of like total wrestling time.
But I also don't hate that either. I mean, this, to me, you said it was an okay show. I thought it was solid all the way through. There was no match that I sat through and was like, well, I could have gone to the bathroom in this, and I didn't need to because you had full bathroom times between them all.
Yeah,
which is great if you're in the stadium even. So
yeah, it's I feel like, and we're kind of jumping all over the place, but like the Grayson Waller effect really, to me, kind of bogged down the show because like. Literally, you just kind of needed The Rock and Roman Reigns in that segment.
I do want to point out how hard that I laughed at the fact that while he's still delivering his line as Seth grabs his head and turns him in a circle and throws him into he's still delivering that line as he hits the corner of the ring.
It was an interesting choice of glasses for Seth, and I'm not sure how I feel about the illusion of what those, because I know where those glasses came from. That's Velveteen Dream. That's a Patrick Clark, and we all know where his ass came from and where his ass went. So I'm not sure why he was wearing those. And with all the bullshit that's going on around WWE, that was a choice, and I'm not sure why that was the choice they made. And that's a little thing, but
yeah, maybe they didn't realize it. I mean, maybe it didn't happen. But like,
it was only like 3 or 4 years ago that he was in the company and then he was out.
But that segment, I didn't hate that segment either. I mean, that was the closest thing to a bathroom break kind of thing, but I still felt like it was setting stuff up. We almost got you happy. I mean, it's not
going to happen.
We were so close to getting you your answer.
So that was on SmackDown Friday night, right? When they were almost gave us the answer.
No, that was the Grayson Waller effect.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got
I remember we were texting about it, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I sat up in the couch because I was like, "Oh, is he about to explain what's happening?" And then he immediately got cut off, and I was like, "Oh, they're not going to do that because they don't have an answer." I've come to that conclusion. They have no answer. to give us that's compelling as to why Cody Rhodes was going to give up his spot at WrestleMania for The Rock. So they're going to tease us like he is going to say these things, and then they are going to just, something will happen and they will bypass it, and hopefully we forget about it.
We got two answers. We've got the hint of the answer on Elimination Chamber, where he said, I'm not going to talk. The Rock doesn't want me to talk about the conversation we had that led to me stepping down. So he's already said that The Rock said something that made Cody potentially forced out of that match. And he was trying to do it, in such a way that they both looked okay, even though it made Cody look like an idiot. Monday, what was it that he said? Shit, I lost that train of thought. But where he came out and fuck it, I've lost it.
He came out. Paul Heyman came out. They did the breaking news thing on Monday Night Raw, which I wish they would do more of. I always said that when they had the network, because there was a live component to the network where you could just start watching like a live channel that would have shows, and they should have like jumped in more with breaking news stuff. So I did think it was cool Monday how Michael Cole, right before he goes to commercial break, being like, oh, word is Paul Heyman's here.
That was what it was. He comes from a generation that in his family, in his house, people that sold tickets, people that made the industry what it is, got the respect. So I goes back to what we were saying, or 2 months ago, about how I think it comes down to The Rock pulled his clout of, I'm a legend, I need you to back away, I need to do this, and then but they haven't said it.
It's the worst possible timing. Like, all egos aside, if you're The Rock, you know what you're asking. Like, this is a story that's been building for 2 fucking years. You had a chance last year and your schedule couldn't make it. And now that you've basically you drove Black Adam into the ground, right? And then pissed off everybody at the network and
I agree. He drove that movie into the ground, but come on, let's give Zachary Levi a little bit of credit on driving that crap into the ground as well.
Sure. But like, what was the other thing we were talking about a couple weeks ago? Was that was it the Fast and the Furious? Like he basically, yeah. And then now he's like, oh, I guess I'll go see if I can make something happen in WWE.
He went back to where he knows his business there, right?
Yeah, but come on, man. Read the fucking room.
I was about to say that. I think that's what's kind of crazy. And again, like I said a couple weeks ago, I don't think they anticipated the level of fan backlash that was going to happen. And to their credit, they have pivoted. But now part of the pivot is there's these little plot holes that are left behind. And some of them you might want to feel, and some of them, like why Cody was so willing to give away a spot, you're kind of, it seems like they might just never steer in that direction ever again.
I think you're getting hints of it. Whether or not you get a full spackle job and a paint job, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be hints. I think Cody's thing Monday, what you said, I think that's as much as they're going to do, and then they're going to go forward because now we have Cody, the Bloodline Hunter.
But I'll be honest, I don't completely hate that either. I know you hate it, but to me, that sets up kind of if you're trying to make this have more of a realistic, smarky feel to it, you don't come out and say it. You let all the people behind in the internet verse go off on how this stuff actually is, and make them think that they know the backstage dealings. So you get like your modern day version of a screw job in a way.
I mean, maybe they just want us talking about it. I don't know.
I mean, that could be as much of it. It's still, though, it's wild because they're pulling this like in their biggest event with their biggest babyface they've had in a while.
But it's getting him over, man.
I mean, it's work. I
was pretty fired up last night when he jumped up on the road. It was like, the bloodline isn't hunting me. I'm hunting the bloodline. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Dude is on fire. Dude is pulling. They are getting humongous Rocky sucks Cody's plus thing. When he can go out there and talk about crybabies, which isn't something that, you should be positive for him. They're in, man.
Yeah. I mean, he was over in Australia too. It's just, the one thing that I came out of that segment thinking about in Elimination Chamber, Austin Theory, you might have to leave this company, man.
No. See, that's what I want to get back to. The second thing,
anything.
Because you weren't going to have Grayson Waller be a bad guy in that town. He was being cheered left and right. But there you can reverse it. Monday, we got the hint of how I think it's going to be a little bit different here now that they're back in America, where Grayson is still the bad guy, but we might actually get Austin to do a turn and end up with DIX.
Listen, I don't want to be like Patrick, the physique guy in the physique spoiler dude. When Austin Theory took off his jacket, like, he is the most jacked dude in that ring, and it's kind of not even close. And Cody's in great shape, Seth's in great shape. Austin Theory looks like a killer.
Yep.
And they have done nothing but present him as a doofus.
Yeah.
For the
just
past 2 years.
quoting The Rock's greatest hits.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's what you needed for that segment in order to make him just appear as a pompous jackass. Let Waller do his little, I'm a good guy, but I've still got some evil tendencies. I did everything I could to protect your ass.
Yeah. I just think Austin's going to have to be like Drew McIntyre, and he's going to have to leave and come back.
I don't know. I think they're on the verge of repackaging him, honestly.
And Dolph Ziggler's doing well in Japan right now. He just won a title. Go to Japan. I mean, that dude.
Did Ali just won something in TNA?
In TNA, yeah.
Matt Riddle won one too.
Yeah. But, all Ziggler, Ali, their potential's kind of capped about where they were at. Austin Theory is young enough. I think he could pull, like I said, a Drew McIntyre, leave, come back, and be presented in a different light, because not even the fans are really thinking of him in that kind of way.
So because I don't know that about Drew, I mean, I know that he did, but I wasn't watching at the time. What did Drew do?
Drew kind of went back to Europe and kind of started... reignited the indie wrestling phase in Europe, and then he went to he was also in TNA.
Drew Galloway.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he was, Drew Galloway was packing out, what was the guy's name? Gordo, or there was a comedic wrestler in the UK that Drew Galloway had a rivalry with that kind of kickstarted that.
LA Knight had the same rivalry with.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he had to do that, and then he came back.
What really helped Drew more than anything is he found the weights.
Oh, yeah. That special creatine got in the system. And, that's a big... But Austin Theory's already there, though.
Yeah.
So now he just needs the cachet. I'm like, if Theory went to New Japan and started putting on classics, the IWC would get immediately behind him, and in 2 years he could waltz right back into WWE, and now he's in a completely different light.
But see, I think he could get, because he was over when he was with Johnny Gargano and them in the way back in NXT. I think that if you get him back in that group and let him kind of flourish there a little bit, you'll see the same thing. But
possibly,
time will see.
Possibly.
Well, let's get into the first match, which was the women's elimination chamber. Becky won. Like, everything that we thought was going to happen in terms of winners and losers, or winners, whatever happened. Becky came out the winner. Of course, gets her match against Rhea. And I think they should let those two main event night one. I mean, not night two, probably, right? Because night one is going to be Cody and Roman, right?
I think they're night two.
I think Cody and Roman will be night two, like they were last year. But see, I don't know. It's going to depend on what they do with The Rock. If they do some kind of tag team,
they're either going to be first or last.
Yeah, there'll be something like that. But no, I like both chamber matches at this pay-per-view. I thought Tiffany Stratton was hands down probably the most impressive person in the entire pay-per-view.
I'm semi on with you. I think everybody showed out except one person in that match. And I think if you're Naomi, you got to be questioning, did I make the right choice of coming back? Because you had your ass handed to you in so many different ways in that match.
She doesn't have anything that makes her stand out.
Yep.
I don't know shit about Tiffany Stratton because I don't watch NXT. All I know is the last couple of weeks she's been on like the main roster, but
she was carrying the female brand down there for a while. She was the NXT champion. She lost it to Becky Lynch when she came down there and did that tour through. She had a hell of a match.
She's got the look and she performs well.
And that crowd was on her hard too.
Yeah. It's a little bit like what happened with like women's mixed martial arts, where it's like the early iteration of women's mixed martial arts was just women who liked martial arts and didn't necessarily come from like an athletic background. And that was the same sort of thing with women's wrestling with like Stacy Keibler was a model. Tori Wilson, there was all that kind of thing. But then what happened with like the 4 horsewomen, Charlotte was a collegiate volleyball player. You had legit athletes who started coming into the wrestling world, and the women's wrestling went up.
Or were
now
super
you have
passionate.
or were passionate. But you have somebody now like Bianca Belair was a Division I track athlete. Tiffany Stratton was, I think, an alternate on the USA gymnast team.
Yeah.
Like that's serious athleticism that's now coming into WWE, and you're
I think Raquel is some kind of power lifter.
Yeah. So like you're getting these women, and you always had that with the men. Most of the men, like Stone Cold played football. Like Macho Man was a baseball player. You had that kind of thing. But women's wrestling and women's mixed martial arts, that's what I was getting to. Like Ronda Rousey is the one that kind of changes that. Ronda's a legit black belt. Judo comes into women's mixed martial arts, and the sport explodes, and now it is what it is.
But everybody in that match, with the exception of Naomi, managed to maximize those minutes to capitalize on moments and really kind of shine. Some of them did it better than others. I mean, for what it's worth, Raquel seemed to outpower Bianca for the most part.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a bad thing. It, get some people that are going to be competing for that powerhouse title. Tiffany definitely was showing off, and the top flight off the she got her personality across. Whereas that's what it's about here.
Did I read correctly the other day? I feel like I saw a tweet that says she'd only been wrestling for like 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Roughly. That sounds about right.
Yeah, she's
sky's the limit with potential there.
Keep an eye out for her around SummerSlam, December. I'm not so sure she's not challenging for somebody's title.
Or I think now, mind you, we're 11 months away from it still, so there's some time. She's my front runner right now for the Rumble next year.
I mean, you could see it. I mean, that her. Yeah, everything about her. It's, like we talk about with Logan Paul, he kind of gets wrestling. Like she kind of gets wrestling. I don't know if she was a wrestling fan growing up, but like some people just take to it like fish to water. And she's definitely that. I mean, you can make an argument that Naomi looked the worst in this match, and then right behind her was Becky Lynch, and people like Liv, Raquel, Bianca, Tiffany all outshine Becky, but Becky obviously is the superstar she is, and so she gets the win.
Yeah, you don't have to put her in a place to do a lot. Like she's established.
And it also showed the way they did the finish. It's like the only woman in the division who's really kind of head and shoulders above everybody right now is Rhea Ripley. Where like Liv is close to Becky, Bianca is close to Becky, Raquel, like they were right there at the end of it, because it kind of the finish was like boom, boom, 2 people get eliminated real quick, and Becky ends up being the winner. So I like that about the division, and yeah, Charlotte Flair is still hurt. She's not even back in the division yet. So they got a lot of talent over there for sure.
Yeah, she'll be out probably for a while though, right? With that, wasn't it a knee?
I think it was a knee, yeah.
So she's probably later this year sometime.
So
at the earliest,
yeah, we'll see what happens with that women's division.
So looking a little ahead, is there a pay-per-view in March, or is it just skip to April 6th?
It just skips. We got 40 days, 39 days of WrestleMania.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that would be a quick.
Yeah.
So is there any chance? I know it's looking ahead, but we were watching it the other night, and Jamie was asking, about Becky and Rhea, and I was like, this is basically a setup for me, in my opinion, to keep Rhea looking like a badass, like to get a win over somebody like Becky, when like Rhea's had some decent competition, but most of it's just been like, okay, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like Becky could give her a real fight and put her over even more, probably. Like there's no reason to put the belt back on Becky.
This pay-per-view was designed to point out, just to give Rhea the opportunity to show out, to show that she could main event, to be the next level star that everybody, that the fans see her as, but establish her within the company. I think that even with the competition that she had in this match, they put on a decent match for who was involved in it. I mean, Rhea was carrying a lot of that match and showed out, had the crowd support, has everything. To me, if you don't, there's no need for the story of Becky to avenge that win at the expense of what you just built.
Right.
But
yeah, I would agree.
Just keep it rolling.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, for as much as we've dogged on Nia Jax, she was decent in the match. This is the best match she's ever had. I mean, clearly. Now, that is not saying much in
Biggest
her
match
career.
she ever had. I don't know if it was the best on her end.
I think it was the best on her end. Now, she did. I think she did what she needed to do, and I think she got a passing grade. Now, obviously, Nia Jax is in this moment because she's outside of maybe Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel and Rhea have similar builds. Nia Jax is the only one that would allow Rhea to work from underneath in a way that makes it compelling. I mean, Rhea Ripley, she is a damn powerhouse and she dwarfs pretty much every woman on the roster. So Nia's pretty much the only one that can allow her to wrestle this type of match, and you want to do it in her hometown. So I get it, but I don't know. I would have liked Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley could have put on a really good match. Now
they could have, but I think again, she's so, as Bianca said, you've been here 2 weeks?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. But no, I thought whatever kind of test this was for Rhea Ripley, I think she passed it with flying colors. Yeah. The only thing that I will say leading up into WrestleMania, I love Dominic Mysterio a lot. I don't know how much more I need Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio as an on-screen couple. Rhea is now taking this situation where she is the Roman Reigns, Gunther level person of the women's division. Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanna Ribisi are not comedy acts. They're serious dudes. And with Dominic standing behind Rhea making funny faces while Becky and Rhea are supposedly engaged, and
then you got Becky riffing on Dom.
Yeah, because essentially what this is a passing of the torch moment. Becky headlined WrestleMania, one was huge over, and this is now she is going to potentially pass the torch over to Rhea Ripley. I don't know how much I need to see Rhea with the Judgment Day anymore.
But let's skip further into yesterday, because you had the Judgment Day come out there and get up in Gunther's face. And of all the people that challenge him, Dom steps up. You get Rhea in the back going, WTF, you dumbass. You're going to get your ass whipped. To me, this is a chance for them to flip that script on him a little bit as well. If he can get a solid showing, if he manages to show out and actually perform in that match, I think he can, because he's put on some decent matches previously. It's an opportunity to make him step out of that comedy light if he claims the belt.
We can get to where they're heading with that story in a little bit, I think. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, but you make a valid point with do we need him there at this point with her?
Because we got we don't. It's like I talked about a couple weeks ago. We don't need any more story. We have Becky and Rhea. This is it. This is a feud everybody's been wanting to see.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 40 days from now.
Yeah,
story goes on, and that Judgment Day still has legs to it.
Well, I don't know. We can pick it up after WrestleMania. I just want to see Rhea Ripley and Becky in a ring and have it be serious.
My concern right now is that you want to talk about Royal Rumble wins and garbage like that, is the fact that it seems like they might be trying to make that a triple threat.
Rhea and Becky with who else?
Nia.
Oh God!
No, I don't. Yeah,
Jesus, no.
Let's not do that.
Well, where I was thinking a minute ago, because we were talking about Dom, was it looks like they're setting up Dom and probably Gable and probably Sami Zayn, right, to go against Gunther.
It seems like it. Yeah, you know, WrestleMania always has one kind of crazy multi-man match. A lot of people have speculated it may be like a ladder match. I mean, there's precedent for that kind of stuff with that at WrestleMania. Because you kind of want to do two things. I think they want to kind of take the title off Gunther, but they also don't want him eating pins in the biggest event. So
it's got to be a wacky.
It's got to be something gimmicky. That way he can claim he never lost it, and then he moves up into the world heavyweight title scene.
So I know it's probably looking a little too far in advance, but of those three, who do you let be the guy that takes that belt off Gunther?
I think it has to be Sammy.
If it's not him, it's got to be. Like I said, I think if you put it on Dom, you continue to have somebody chase him, and there's always money in the chase.
But I think just based off of the prestige that Gunther has put on the title in the 600 something days he's been champion, either somebody like a Sami Zayn or a Chad Gable, a feel-good type moment on a big stage. It has it, and then you can rip it right off of one of them two in a month and a half or something.
Yeah, because they've got that whole Sammy's had a lot of losses. He got to be a champion this year. I mean, that could make sense, but Gable presented a nice case for himself as well, I thought.
Yeah, and what was it? When Zack Ryder won he won the United States title one night and then literally lose it the next day on Raw. Like, you could do something like that,
sure.
Some kind of feel good moment. But yeah, I mean, my pick would be Sammy or Chad Gable. I don't think you go heel from a heel to another heel and dominate.
I wouldn't. Realistically, out of anybody that's in that match, I'm not going to be angry if any of them win it, honestly, because there's solid enough performers to it out.
Yeah.
So the next match to cover an Elimination Chamber was the Judgment Day. They retained over Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
New Catch Republic.
That's a sweet name. For real, it's a damn good name.
And to quote Michael Cole, sounds like someplace my wife would get her clothes.
Yeah.
I think I texted y'all that night that I feel like Pete Dunne is one of those dudes that we've discussed it several times. I know when it was just me and you, Patrick, on the show, and we've done it at least once since Steven's been in. But I think Pete's one of those dudes that would do well in AEW.
So I think he'd get lost. That was my response to you when I saw that. He would get lost in that mix. So he stands out with what he does in WWE because nobody else does what he does. You get him over in AEW, and he's going to be he's never going to get into the title picture. He's never going to get any of the screen time that you want him to get because he doesn't have. I
think AEW, outside of maybe the Acclaimed and MJF, they don't really do a good job of building stars homegrown. You kind of have to come to AEW with some kind of cachet already.
And so they will spend it on you quick.
So instead of like Pete Dunne going to AEW, maybe Pete Dunne going to Japan and making buzz over there and then coming back to WWE or AEW or something like that. But he's probably in a good spot. I mean, you talk about him, Gargano, Ciampa, Tyler Bate. Like, these are dudes who, much like a Kevin Owens, they're just going to have a job in WWE for forever. Because they're solid workers. You can kind of throw them. Tommaso Ciampa can be a comedy act, but also you can put him back in a leather vest and he's the psycho killer guy again. Like
Triple H.
He gets confused for Triple H and becomes new D-Generation X. So like
Regeneration X.
Apologies. So yeah, there are just guys who are probably, going to be WWE lifers who probably never get above the mid-card, upper mid-card level talent because there can only be so many top guys, right?
Yeah. So
he had been over in I was trying to figure out if he had been over in Japan, and he had over at Michinoku Pro, but that's been 10 years.
Yeah, and Michinoku was like I think it goes like New Japan, DDT. Michinoku might be the GCW of Japan.
I wish GCW would hurry up and come back.
Yeah, those are fun shows.
But I love that. This was I think it showed off both teams well enough, and it was a regular enough match where generally a Judgment Day match would have gotten a lot of interference. This one was straightforward while still putting over both teams.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was, are you going to remember it 2 months from now? Probably not, but you're also not going to remember it for the wrong reasons, right? And be like, man, that was a shit show. So, yeah, it was good all the way around.
So next up is the men's chamber. Drew won as expected by what we called last week. So we get the interference from AJ Styles, and looks like they're not going Logan Paul versus LA Knight at Mania, which we kind of thought was going to happen.
I think, Knight and AJ can put on a decent, were they crossing over during TNA time, or did LA Knight get there late?
LA Knight got there later. I think AJ's been in WWE, I think, since 2015.
Okay.
It's a long time when you think about it. But I enjoyed the men's chamber match a lot. I thought, for obvious reasons, the women's chamber match had some brutality, but they weren't putting people's heads through the plexiglass, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul style. So the men's chamber, I thought, for as much as it's a PG product, had a level of brutality about it. I thought everybody got their spot in. I didn't think anybody looked like they were overshadowed.
Honestly, I mean, I would think LA Knight was probably the weakest showing in that one, but because he got the AJ interference, you still get a story that's coming out of it.
You got something that comes out of it.
He was also the one that took the least amount of time to get to the ring, I think. Everybody else took
Which
forever.
I appreciated because I did watch the entrances for all this.
I wouldn't know. I fast forward through all that.
I pulled out my stopwatch because at a certain point I was like, or not stopwatch, my phone, but at a certain point it was taking forever for the people to get to the ring. And so I was like, I'm going to time this one. And it was LA Knight and it was like 45 seconds. And then I was like, well, that's the shortest one. And everybody else was probably 3 minutes.
So, Randy.
Yeah.
Work, or is he already crippling himself again?
I thought it was aware. I don't think that there was nothing I saw from Randy that made me think he was legitimately injured, but he is at an age where you could take a back bump and, a vertebrae goes a different way and that's it.
Speaking of injuries, Balor was playing his up apparently that.
Yeah, I think he just knocked it out of socket or something.
Yeah.
So he had it all bandaged up last night, but there were tweets saying like he was working. Yeah.
But I thought Logan Paul in that chamber match, I mean, the dude gets his personality across even when he's behind plexiglass. I mean, whipping out the Sharpie marker and just taunting Kevin Owens from out there. It's the dude gets it.
There's nothing more satisfying than seeing KO whip Paul's ass for about 3 minutes in a row, though.
Now, Logan Paul probably is getting a lot more runway to work with than a normal WWE superstar would get.
About $26 million will do that.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Pat McAfee says this all the time, be who you can afford to be. Like, Logan gets to be a lot of different, that he gets to have the microphone and like, but again, they're utilizing his social media platform to add to this stuff. But I thought him and KO's interaction during all of this was great. I thought Drew looked like a badass during this. Like you said, LA Knight probably had the weakest showing, but at the same time, he's the one that gets the actual story coming out of this.
Bobby was putting people through walls. So
Bobby speared the shit out of damn Logan right through the thing.
And Drew is the other one that came out, with a story. And the WrestleMania match.
It's just AJ's. The point of chambers is that people are not supposed to be able to get in. That's the point of cages and chambers. You're locking people in there.
Who was it that was it Lashley that was having trouble getting out?
Yeah.
Well, Logan Paul came in last year, right?
Yep. Logan Paul came in last year. Yeah. So it's now twice in a row. They went to the same well twice for something, which again, I am kind of shocked because I thought Logan and LA Knight, with their mic battles they could have, just made for a sort of a natural matchup at WrestleMania. Perhaps they're holding that off till SummerSlam.
So do we get the RKO Paul match now?
It seems that way. Or they do another multi-man match for the U.S. title the same way they're going to do for the Intercontinental title. I could see that. You get enough people because right now Kevin Owens really doesn't have any kind of story leading into WrestleMania and we're a couple weeks away. Like, Bobby, are they going to do Bobby in the Author Judgment final? What's the fucking emo band? Final Testament name? Whatever the hell.
I would assume that's where that one happens. But I think that would probably be a kickoff match, if nothing else.
Yeah. So
you were talking Tommaso being that all-around star. Kevin Owens is that all-around star. That man, you need him to be a bad guy, he's a bad guy. You need him to be a good guy, he's a good guy. You need him to do something with a legend, you do something with a legend.
I'm currently rocking my Fight Kevin Fight shirt. Or just keep fighting.
You need him to carry a belt? Cool. You need him just to circle around, just keeping things entertaining? The fact that they don't put him with a belt, it makes me sad, but that man can do it all. He is everything that company needs.
He is kind of like if you were wanting to be somebody in WWE, I kind of think you'd want to be his spot because okay, everyone would say, oh, I want to be Cody Rhodes. It's like, well, Cody has to do every kind of press event. His schedule is probably insane. KO he doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. He gets, whenever there is a 6-man, multi-man match for something, he's in it because they put him in there.
If you need someone to carry a koala bear.
The fans love him. He can take time off when he needs to because his schedule's not demanding. I guarantee you,
Stone Cold.
And I guarantee you he's probably within the top 8 highest paid WWE superstars, probably at least the top 10.
I would guess it would be either him or you want to be The Miz.
They're right there equal to each other. Like they will just have a job in WWE for as long as they want because if KO doesn't want to be a wrestler anymore, there's the managerial route. Like Paul Heyman's getting up there,
and he's doing more stuff backstage now too. With like they've got a show that they do evidently on the network, like The Bump or something, where they're just going around interviewing people.
Yeah, so I mean, he's a lifer. I mean, I know a lot of people when his contract was up, he was tweeting stuff at AEW, and he had the relationship with the Young Bucks, but
it's got it made.
He hasn't made, and there's no reason to leave if you don't have to.
Yeah, we had speculated even then because I think we had just started our podcast. It was the early days of it, and we were like, it would be awesome to see him in AEW. But then we were like, why would he leave? You know, because we talked about the schedule would be even easier than what he does have at WWE. But
the reason you go to AEW is you do what Edge is doing, where you have some level of artistic freedom. KO had all of that stuff in Ring of Honor because he was the last big indie dude in America to sign with WWE.
Yep.
So he's had a dozen years of all of those crazy ladder matches with El Generico and that people stole spots from and all that kind of stuff. So he's already had like the quote unquote critical acclaim.
Sure.
So now it's time to get the money. Now it's time to roll the Brinks truck to the bank. And I think he's talked about podcasts and stuff like they go to Disney World like once a month just because like, why not? You can, right?
And I think he's like a big zoo guy. So all he does is go around and visit zoos and that's his life.
So, I think he has, I don't think any WWE wrestler is the type of person that wants to see AEW fail.
Right.
I think he's got friends over there. I just don't think that was ever probably appealing to him to do.
Yeah. So we've already hit on Rhea and Nia. Do we need to cover that anymore? Wait, time out. Let me circle back just real quick to Drew McIntyre sitting crisscross applesauce in the ring last night.
Don't shoot up my kilt.
He's going hard on Punk, man. And Punk is not like Punk did make an after show appearance right after they went off the air the other night.
Yeah.
But he's going ham on Punk.
See, this is how.
Like is this for real? Like
I think CM Punk is feeding him lines.
I think there's some truth to it, though. There's some truth, but I think they both understand there's money to be made. So what should have happened in AEW is what you're saying.
Yes,
but this is also how, to me, you do the angle that they should be doing with the Undisputed Kingdom and MJF. That if you're going to have Adam Cole do anything, you have him do that kind of stuff because MJF isn't going to be coming back, so you don't need to worry about him, having to be in a fight. Whereas Drew can talk all kinds of shit, and he knows he's not going to have anybody come do it, but that money will come when the injury's ready.
How long does MJF's injury keep him out?
God, I hope he shows back up at Revolution. That show needs something. It needs some kind of spark.
Needs a shot in the arm.
Well, it's just like...
I just don't know. I can't remember what injury he had.
He was a torn labrum and like a hip.
And like, the hip could be a minute.
It's a lot. But like, the thing that WWE does so well that I think is really missing from... One of the things that's missing from AEW is like, every main character in WWE has like 6 things happening with other different characters. So Drew has CM Punk. Drew has Seth. Drew has Cody. Drew has also a little thing teasing out there with the bloodline.
And now Logan Paul.
Seth has Drew.
He might
Seth
have too
has
much going on.
Cody. Seth. Yeah, Drew might have to. Like the 6th degree. Was it 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
It might be everything just revolves around him. But like all these characters have multiple offshoots of stories that are happening. In AEW, you're lucky if you get like one that carries over. And so I think that's probably one of their biggest issues. But right now, Drew is killing it with everything he's doing. And I think he should personally walk out of WrestleMania with the World Heavyweight title.
100%.
And let Seth get a little break.
Yeah.
The thing that made me the happiest, and this is stupid as hell, but this was a callback to me and I loved it. At the end of the Elimination Chamber, they did one of the things that WWE does best, and I absolutely love it. They had their Motionless in White theme song, and then they did their little music video production thing at the end. And that was something that I used to love watching at the end of every WWE pay-per-view, where they would come back and just be hitting those moves to the downbeats, because that is some fast MF and editing.
That's real fast. As people that that do that for, you know.
I think there's a YouTube video that you can see how they do that. Basically, there's like 6 or 7 editors back in headquarters, and everybody has a match, and they clip it as the match goes.
Gotcha.
So they get like 30 seconds of the song. You clip it to how you need to clip it.
Yeah, they clip it, and then they have like 4 minutes to compile the whole thing at the end and get it back to the truck. It's pretty crazy.
But that's something they hadn't done in so long, and to see that come back, that made me pop so hard.
Yeah, because I was expecting the lower third trademark graphic, copyright graphic, and then I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
I didn't realize how much Motionless in White sounds like Marilyn Manson, because I was like wincing there for a little bit, going, "Ooh, you're going full in on this."
Was Marilyn Manson the theme song of a WWE show? I mean, wasn't Beautiful People like the one of SmackDown for a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But hey, it was okay back then.
It was a different time back then. Yeah, 2000 something.
So I think that's probably all that we have for WWE and Elimination Chamber for right now, right? We're about 40 minutes in. We could do a quick rundown of the AEW Revolution card.
Yeah, because there wasn't anything really from Collision.
Oh, there was a whole bunch of mess ups.
Well, that was just the same old.
They did actually give Akiyama a package.
They did do that.
Well, and they did what I asked them to do. They explained why this match was important, other than just random dude.
Right.
It explained how he connected to Eddie and why Brian was being a complete dick. It only took them, the entire every match up until the last one.
They'll get there eventually. They also did a good job. And I think Eddie being on commentary helped, because he was like, watch out for the exploder. So now as a fan, you're like, oh, if Akiyama hits the exploder suplex, like that's what Brian, and then they do a good job. So yes, we'll give them kudos to that. Took them forever to get there, but they got there eventually.
But yeah, you had Matt Caster lose his rap midway.
Which I think was intentional.
You think so?
I think so. I think they're playing up the idea that like the Acclaimed is slowly, the Bang Bang gang is taking over eventually and losing his thing.
You had the one dude that got hit with the move, then danced around and jumped out over the rope like he was.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't great. That wasn't great.
Then you had the FTR and Shane Taylor with whatever the heck that thing was.
I will say something about Shane Taylor, though. There's potential with that dude somewhere. He has a look. When he's on the microphone, he feels legit. I don't know where you put him. I don't think it's him as a wrestler.
You put him in NWA, he'd fit there because of what he'd be surrounded by.
Potentially, I think some kind of I don't know how you get there, because you already have Prince Nana, but and you already have a kind of Swerve Mogul Embassy type thing. I don't know. I just like Shane Taylor. He's got a unique look. I don't think it's him as a wrestler, but his mic skills are good. I do like Lee Moriarty a lot. I wish they would do more with him, but there's a lot of dudes in AEW I wish they would do more stuff with. What do we talk? Oh, Revolution running down the card. So yeah, it's Sunday. So first off here on the list, we got FTR versus Blackpool Combat Club.
Have they announced what the step is? I know they talked backstage, but I can't remember what they actually ended up saying they were going to do.
This does not have a step currently situated to it, but in FTR fashion, you got to think it's 2 out of 3 falls, right?
I know they said they don't work by the hour. BCC doesn't work by the hour.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have this 2 out of 3 falls. FTR has a bunch of with the Briscoes, with DIY. That's sort of their forte. I don't know who wins this match, though. Honestly, I mean,
it'll be a banger for sure.
FTR kind of needs it. I think
they just came off the win with House of Black.
Yeah, I mean, Claudio, because out of the thing, Claudio is primarily a singles wrestler. And he's not going to be a top guy. Moxley is a dude who could, the next damn heavyweight tournament they have, he could just win it again and be a top guy again.
I guess the question for this would be,
I think FTR goes down.
If the Bucks win Sunday, like they probably will, right? Over Sting and Darby Allin.
That's my thought.
If they win, then who's going to be the people to possibly dethrone the Bucks?
BCC. And it's not even about wrestling at this stage. It's about pulling a gun out on somebody as you're driving through Orlando.
Well,
I mean, you may have a very valid point.
there are real life implications out there, right? We have no idea what's going to happen with that.
Hadn't thought about that one.
But the tag team money match, though, is FTR and the Young Bucks with live mics out there airing their grievances. But the thing is that whether it's FTR doesn't want to do that or the Young Bucks, somebody doesn't want to do business.
Impression it was the Bucks that didn't want to do it,
And
now they're playing the to their credit. They are playing it masterfully with the wrestling in the suits and the tweet that and the Facebook post they put out yesterday about here's a nice new wallpaper for your phone and we're going to give you a pizza party. That shit was fucking brilliant. I thought.
Yeah, it's just it comes at the expense of like people thinking, oh, you're not off the Punk stuff and the FTR stuff.
Sure.
Like they're battling up against maybe some real life, and it might actually be true, right? Like they might kind of be dickheads.
Like you said, they might be leaning into it for story purposes.
yeah.
Ric Flair was Ric Flair.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you live the gimmick, right? It happens. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see FTR win, but it wouldn't surprise me if Blackpool Combat Club gets the win.
Yeah, I think he's got a trial coming up, and I don't know if they know how that's going to go. And there's some jail time that's potential on that.
Bro. The fuck? Come on.
Is that why we got a Dax solo bout last week?
It might be. I don't know the details of
He's had a few before, but he hasn't had that many in AEW.
I think Dax is kind of the guy that squeaky wheel gets the oil. I think he's a lot more vocal about his dissatisfaction with stuff, and so they kind of throw him a bone of here's a singles match against Jon Moxley and that kind of thing. But I don't know. Like you said, there might be some actual jail time coming for one of these dudes. So next up on this list, Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Lance Archer in a Meat Madness match. I can't express to you how much I hate this.
I love big guys fighting, but I'm not a big fan of this.
If there's 12 matches, is it for real 12 matches that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those that could go.
Like, however much time you have slotted for this one, you could give to Konosuke and Ospreay or...
But you need to put over Wardlow.
Do you?
You have set up with the Undisputed Kingdom that he's going to be going after whoever wins the title. So you have to put him over.
I get it. I mean, I get why I would never make that call in the first place, but I get why they're having to do it.
And you've been showing him with crap in on your TV show, so he has to go over.
We were talking earlier about the amount of actual wrestling that happened during the WWE PLE over the weekend in a 4-hour show. This is going to be one of those where, like, you know, there's a pin. There might be 3 minutes before the next match starts. I feel like they're going to have to.
Oh, yeah. There's 9 matches listed on here, and I bet that this is not the final card. I bet we get some more stuff that happens either Wednesday or Saturday.
I saw a big old poster. Let's see if I can find that while we're talking.
But yeah. Whatever. Wardlow, I don't think has any. If anything in this match, I feel bad for Powerhouse Hobbs. Because I feel like that's a dude. Him and Brian Cage are both in the same mold here. People think that, you know, it's something, but what has he done? I think Powerhouse's potential. I think he has a little bit more personality than Wardlow. Also think he has a cooler look. The innuendo of I break backs, if you do it correctly, could be something that is funny. Wardlow to me, and also I think when Powerhouse gets pissed off, he comes off as way more convincing than Wardlow. I think Powerhouse is a legit tough guy. I think Wardlow is a big dude who is trying to portray himself as a tough guy, but I don't actually think that that's what he is. And Lance Archer is just a dude that they throw out there and he gets beat, and you know there's nothing much.
Looks like a monster, but never seems to win matches.
Yeah, everybody. His catchphrase is "everybody dies," but yet no more. Nothing ever happens.
Nobody ever really dies.
Yeah. And next up here we have Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia. I mean, I think Christian Cage wins this pretty convincingly. It'd be a nice spot for Danny Garcia, but...
Do you think they'll eventually get back around to Copeland getting that off of him at some point?
Yeah.
You're right. It is only 9 on this poster.
Yeah. No, I think they get back to Christian and Edge. I think that they're just... they don't want to do it now. I don't know why they don't want to do it now, but it's not happening. Daniel Garcia should have a good showing, though. And, I mean, you're watching this for Christian Cage. You got to keep this title because we need more Dead Father promos.
You do,
him.
but does Does Copeland get his moral victory by costing Christian the title?
Maybe, but I don't think it's because I don't think you do it in this match with Daniel Garcia. I think based off the run that Christian's had with the TNT Championship, I think it has to come from somebody that's not, as much as I like Daniel Garcia, and I don't know who that person would be, but somebody that's a little bit higher elevated than Garcia is.
The only other person that's higher than him that doesn't have a title already is Darby.
Darby, I like a Darby, I think would make more sense. And I know he's had the TNT title 3 or 4 times at this point, but like that is somebody I could see. Next up, we have Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson for the Continental Crown Championship match. Yeah, this is gonna slap.
That one, this is one that, like I said, it took them forever to get there, and I wish they had been more clear with it. But this is the one I kind of am most looking forward to.
Yeah, this match and Takeshita Ospreay, I think, are the two that we might come on this podcast Tuesday and be like, "Holy shit, that match was incredible."
I think the Takeshita Ospreay match is going to be a great match to watch. I don't think you need it on this.
There's no build for it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be on this pay-per-view.
I don't care if there's no build.
I don't care either. I mean,
Will Ospreay.
But still, I get that. But you are throwing away. You're throwing away money.
Hear me out. Or this is the start of something beautiful between these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, bro, if you're giving me like, who do I want to see two guys wrestle for the next 5 years and have some kind of rivalry and have it be off and on, like,
yeah.
Takeshita and Ospreay are up there. I mean, Ospreay, Jay White. I just think, I've said this before, Ospreay is, to me, the greatest wrestler in the world right now. I'm not going to say he's lapping the competition, but he's a clear number one to me. I don't think there are many dudes in wrestling right now that are capable of doing what he is able to do in the ring. And yes, they have to play it off. They have to do it correctly. But he is coming into a company where that is the sole thing that matters the most, for better or for worse. And he has opponents galore that he can have matches with. I mean, Jay White, Hangman, he's obviously Takeshita, Garcia. He's already had one with Cassidy, which we love. Roderick Strong.
Yeah, I've said it 1,000 times, but him and Cassidy, for what it's worth, was the match of the year for me that year.
I mean, the Kenny Omega, if he ever gets healthy, is back out there. Ospreay, MJF. Like,
oh, Jesus, man.
It's Ospreay Danielson.
But again, to me, I want a reason why somebody's punching you in the face.
I get it, but with this dude, I don't need one.
This is the thing that I may have actually typed it out one night in a thing, but this and these occasional, just like, here's two people going at it. These are the reasons why, to me, you watch AEW. If you're a fan of, like, you know, I had sometimes, like, a couple months ago, I got disgusted with WWE and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. So I just watch AEW for the same reasons that you get very reasonably frustrated with AEW. This is just a match, like, you don't have to know it. You can just enjoy wrestling, right? Because these two dudes are going to put on a show. They can get back to telling a story at some other point. Like, we've got a good story with Danielson and Eddie, but these are just two dudes that are gonna just beat the shit out of each other and put on a show.
Now, for everything that people talk shit about AEW, looking at this card, it's a solid storyline AEW card.
Yeah, there are some stories here. Yeah, I think whether how we gauge them or how effective or good those stories are, there are at least. I mean, Sting and Darby and Young Bucks is a story.
Like, the only story thing that we've gotten out of this one so far is that Callis wants Ospreay to fight Takeshita, and that's it.
Yeah,
right.
Which I don't know how.
And they're supposed to be on the same team.
Yeah, see, that's why to me, they'll build a story into the thing somehow coming out of this.
Yeah.
But to me, if this card doesn't need to be 9, because these are going to be long ass matches anyway. You don't need to have 9 matches on this card. If you had been doing the right thing with Wardlow throughout your TV show, you don't need to have that match on the card. You can get it down to 7. 7 is fairly reasonable for the amount of time that a lot of these are going to get.
Well, it's an AEW show, so this motherfucker's going at least 4.5, if not 5.
And I ain't got that kind of energy in me, man.
You sat through 4 hours of not wrestling the other
I fast forwarded that shit.
Yeah, I say he said he didn't watch it live.
Oh, that's true. And I did too. But it was just funny. I should have fast forwarded through it. I don't know why I was sitting there watching it. I was like,
and I mean, it's like I paused that stuff. I went out to Walmart. I did stuff in between that. I don't have to.
Listen, obviously I'm a fanboy. Listen, I'll pay $50 just to watch Ospreay and Takeshita. I'd watch them wrestle for 2 hours.
I ended up getting to see the Ospreay Oku match.
Oh yeah,
and it was a solid match, but it was not AEW style. It was he did it in a very more deliberate fashion than a lot of the AEW stuff comes.
I think what people don't give Ospreay credit for, I think he is a masterful storyteller in the ring as far as like setting up wrestling moves. Like you go and watch some of his stuff against Naito and they had the trilogy of matches. Like if you watch all those matches in succession, they're doing spots that are callbacks, but then they're changing it. So we're like in the one match, maybe this sequence ends with this move. In the second match,
they were doing that stuff,
and they counter it, and it makes it make sense. So I think he is, one of the best in the world at just like laying out matches. And I'm just excited as hell that he's coming into this company, and I hope that they do right by him. And if not, I will bitch about it relentlessly on this podcast because
this will be your break point, huh?
To me, this dude is.
You can't miss.
You cannot mess with this guy.
We've countless times on this show over the last year or so. We're a year and a half into doing this show now. Like we've been like, yeah, look, when the time comes, if you don't back the truck up to this man's house, and everybody, I mean, I think it's our most popular TikTok. We haven't done TikToks in a little while, but there was a clip where you said it was the two most popular ones are. If they don't make this work, which was about CM Punk and the Bucks.
And they didn't.
They didn't make it work. And a lot of folks in the comments and haters on that one. But then the other one was Will Ospreay backed the truck up to him. A lot of people in the comments talking about he'll never do it. He's always said he'll never do it. He'll never move here. And we're like, you don't have to technically move here
and
to get that check.
Money changes everything. People talk. And then somebody pulls out a checkbook, and all of a sudden their tune changes.
Now put this out here right now. Tony Khan, if you're listening, it doesn't have to be a big check. It can be like 5 zeros. I'll be happy. Just with a 1 in front of it. And I would change my opinion drastically because money talks.
Money talks. Listen. And the cool thing about Ospreay, too, is you said you watched the match from Rev Pro. Did you catch the promo afterwards?
No.
So seemingly it's going to be his last Rev Pro indie booking, which is like the home indie in his hometown or whatever. He takes the microphone and basically is like, if you thought these last 8 years of my career was something, you ain't seen nothing yet. So like he seems to be highly motivated. He seems to be kind of reading a little bit of the AEW hate. And like if you get a motivated Ospreay that's coming in and Ospreay's mindset is, I'm not just going to be the best person in this company. I'm going to take it to new heights. Like,
good on him. Good luck.
We'll see. I mean, this is because for one thing, if you want to talk about stuff that WWE doesn't have, there's nobody on that show over there. I think that's to the caliber of Will Ospreay when it comes to in-ring talent and wrestling ability. I mean, and
on the mic too. He's good on the mic.
He's good enough on the mic. He's gotten a lot better. Yeah. I will say if you think he's bad on the mic, go watch his press conference he did with Kenny Omega before Wrestle Kingdom, I think last year. Like people pigeonholed him because him and the Ricochet flippy floppy shit went viral like 6 or 7 years ago, and they think that that's still the same dude, and it's not. He's not that same wrestler anymore.
Like I said, watching that match, it was not what I was remembering of him. It was a deliberate match. There was, because the way they had the entrances to those ones, it was like the entrances, you thought WWE entrances was long for that match. Each one of those entrances was like 2 minutes because they were showing a lot of video as they were, before they even came out kind of stuff. But you could see the buildup of what they were trying to do kind of thing. And he's got the storytelling aspect. I just don't know if it will come across in the hands of Tony.
If he's going to be put in the right situation. No, that is a valid complaint, and that's a scare that I also have, and I will be highly pissed off if they go down that route. The next, and we talked about Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson. I also think this is fucking anytime you can watch Bryan Danielson wrestle, it's a treat.
But again, they've built it up.
They did a great story too. Next on this, it has Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. I think that this is going to actually main event. I don't see how it doesn't, but they have it listed on here.
It's in the middle of this poster.
Yeah. That's crazy to me if that happens. And if it's in the middle of the thing, then you can for sure say the Young Bucks are going to win. I don't know how this is not the main event. I mean, I know you want to protect your world title, but this is Sting's last match in Greensboro, which made him famous.
Yeah, to me, this should be your main event. Honestly, I figure Sting main events. I think your world title is your opening match.
It could be. I wouldn't be shocked if Sting and Darby Allin win this match.
And then what? I'd spend the titles over the thing, do a tournament?
You do a tournament, or you have Darby as the cocky guy being like, I'll find another partner, or I'll defend it one-on-one, 1 against 2, and, some heel team beats him or whatever like that. Like
Sting's old school, though. And when you're going out, you go out on your back.
He is old school, but apparently they did not want Sting. Sting didn't want to win these tag titles before this match, and they convinced him to win the tag titles before the match. So, again, whether that is the Young Bucks doing their politicking behind the scenes because they can get the titles again, I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked if Darby and Sting got the feel-good win here. Because Sting did have, coming out of WWE, he never really got the respect that he deserved when he went over there to that company. So to let him go out in this kind of way, yes, it would be breaking wrestling tradition. Everybody goes out on their back. But is it a make good for Sting's last retirement? I don't know.
Tony Khan is a mark.
He's a mark, but I mean, Sting also is like... It wouldn't be crazy if you had Sting on your personal Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, though, if he had to be convinced to make this happen, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I think he ain't leaving. This may be his last match, but he ain't leaving. They're going to still use him. I'm assuming he's going to do the Ric Flair thing and just be popping in and out, maybe managing. Who knows? Yeah,
but I don't think you can bill it as his last match and then not have it be his last match. If we see Sting again, he does need to kind of be, like you said, a dude that maybe comes in to even the odds, but never laces them back up
bring
again.
Bring him in as the on-screen GM.
Yeah. He just stays in the face paint the whole time. Just does the thing. That'd be a choice.
One with the Undertaker, just do a Teddy Long on him.
Yeah, he's just got the bat. Woo! I mean, nobody would talk shit to him, right? He's a fucking still dressed up in
yes,
face
boss.
paint. Yes, boss. Next up, they have Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. I also think this is going to be a strong match.
Do you? Because this is this match. I want to care about this match, but they have done everything in their power to make me not give a damn about Undisputed Kingdom.
Oh, now the story's dog shit. Let me put that out there. The story between these two is not good.
To me, this is part one of the bathroom break.
But I think Roderick and
second
Orange,
bathroom break, because the first one was down there with the Meat Madness.
The Meat Madness, yeah. I think Roderick and Orange will put on a good showing, though. I think that those two are. I mean, Roderick Strong still doesn't get the type of respect he deserves. It's just like an in-ring competitor. The amount of stuff that people have stolen from Roderick Strong is insane.
I love them both, but they have gone out of their way to make this the Roman Reigns dog food match.
Yeah, it's not the whole Undisputed Kingdom. They have just fumble is not even the right word. They're just, again, keep in mind, this is the group that took out literally the biggest star in the company, and 2 weeks ago they were on Rampage. So it's just
with 263,000 people watching.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Now, I'm not saying they can't save the Undisputed Kingdom or whatever the hell the name is. You got to get Adam Cole up out of that wheelchair before you can convince anybody that they're a badass group.
He looks like he's losing weight too.
He's never been, he's always been a scrawny dude.
Talking about Roderick?
No, Adam Cole.
I don't remember when he came to AEW though. He had put on some weight, and not in a good way.
Yeah, well, yeah, but also remember, we also talking about this dude does not look like. There is a level of physicality you need to be convincing in a pro wrestling atmosphere.
Yeah.
And he does not have that.
But I want to go back. He left WWE because they wanted him to be a manager, and that is essentially all he has done.
I hadn't thought about it.
That is essentially
Now he does have under his belt that he headlined the biggest show in AEW history. Him and MJF did main event London. Let's keep that.
Was it a Janet Jackson or was it a Paula Abdul that said, "What have you done for me lately?"
I mean, that is true. It's not been great since then, but he is talented enough where if they give him, and again, a lot of this comes down to the creative and the booking that gets behind these guys. He's talented enough of a performer that he can get people back around to care about what he's doing.
He needs to LA Knight himself, right? Because LA Knight, he was managing the Maximum Male Models or whatever. Right?
He needs to AEW. He needs to get him and his wife out of the AEW contracts. Vince is gone. Triple H loved the dude. Triple H showcased the dude. He would fit better in WWE.
Triple H might not be around too much longer.
Yeah, well,
based on some things I've read the last couple of days.
That's also that's also the carrot that's kind of dangling out there. It would not surprise me if there's nobody associated with the McMahon name that's in WWE in 18 months.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked.
We don't need to spend any time on that. But I'm just saying.
But yeah, you're right. Adam Cole might be a dude that needs to go back. I mean, like we said, we've yet to see that part of these two wrestling companies, which is we've seen one go to the other. We haven't seen people flip-flop back and forth yet. And I don't think AEW is going anywhere anytime soon. I think they're going to be a company for a pretty long time.
I mean, in theory, the dude loves what he has purchased.
Yeah.
He's got enough money that he can do what he wants to do for a significant amount of time.
Yeah. This is not Ted Turner selling WCW, like getting in bed with wrestling just because for shits and giggles, right? No, I mean, Tony is a devoted fan. And part of his mission has been to provide an alternative in this space. And I think that he really cares about that. So he's going to do as much as he can to keep it up. Next up here, we have Timeless Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo.
And that's my plan. I think if I eat some Taco Bell right before this, I've got time with the Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong to really stretch out that bathroom break through this one.
Here's the thing is it's been a good run for Tony, right?
Yeah.
But we got to shake this women's division up. Like the gimmick was super fun. And but at this point, let's change it up. And
would Tony's gimmick be better if she had the TBS title and not this one?
Yes.
Sure.
Probably. If she was dealing with the secondary women's title and was doing this gimmick, for as much as I love this gimmick,
the mid-card titles over there are more comedy based.
And maybe it fits better. I think somebody online said that she could have changed it to like the TCM title and you could have done all that stuff. I think it is, like you said, it probably has run its course because this is the women's world title and maybe you want it to have a little bit more seriousness to it. But again, if it's not Tony Storm having this title, who is it?
That's the thing. There's nobody in that division right now that I give any cares about.
Like how quickly do you get? I mean, not week one. You don't want to come in and have Mercedes Moné be like, "Hey, I'm challenging you." But
then you get her there. What's it matter? She's got nothing to work with.
Well, she'll have her own writer, and she'll probably have her own little Cody universe. But
again, to quote everybody that's ever yelled at me on the internet here about this stupid promotion. This is an alternative. You can't do the things that you're doing in WWE. We want something different. And you think that is exactly what they've just hired with Mercedes and her rider.
I mean, that is a point. That is true. We will see. I think part of Mercedes coming over, though, is maybe being allowed to do stuff that maybe she wasn't able to do in WWE. Now, like you brought up last week, that might include her bumping on her neck 27 times in a match, and maybe that's not the greatest thing. But again, if that's kind of what she wants to do.
Because hell, she was doing that in WWE, so I can only imagine what it goes up to in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, she probably seems like the type of person. She loved Eddie Guerrero. She loved that style. It would not surprise me if she wants to do hardcore matches and starts blading and bleeding in the middle of the ring. None of that stuff would surprise me. But to your point, yeah, this is supposed to be presented as an alternative. Do you really want to take the woman that is famous in the other company, bring her over and present her as a huge star.
And I haven't looked lately, but like, where do the injuries stand with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker?
Well, that's the thing, is I'm waiting for Jamie Hayter to come back.
I think that's what Tony is doing as well. That you know how he is with his storylines. He will sit on them for months on end.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it with Jade Cargill.
Yeah. And as much as, if Will Ospreay is number one on my list of most loved wrestlers, Jamie Hayter is number two. And you want to talk about, I think she's the best women's wrestler in the world.
And I think Britt Baker is suffering for the fact that they are waiting to bring Hayter back so they can continue the slow breakup of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's sad because your women's division has tanked without any kind of star power in it.
I mean, they got nothing happening.
Well, and this is the only women's match on this card.
Julia Hart's injured, right?
Yeah, this is the only, and these two women are the only ones that get screen time, really, for the most part. I mean, we've had Sky Blue and Statlander and Willow here and there, but like, this is the women's story. This is the only thing happening.
Deeb is the only other person.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit, she's got not that much personality either. So yes, maybe they are waiting for Jamie Hayter to come back.
You got Thunder Rosa starting to make something, but
I didn't watch her match the other night.
The thing with Thunder Rosa though is like, if you're not going to do Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, and again give them live mics and let them like air out some of this shit that the IWC thinks that they have going on between them, there's no point of putting either one of them in another story. So who knows there. And then the last match here on this poster, Samoa Joe versus Hangman versus Swerve for the world title.
Which way does that go? Does Swerve get it now?
My heart says Swerve. My heart says to just give it to this dude and let's...
Because it's Swerve or Joe.
Yes, I don't think Hangman comes out of this with the title. Hangman is going through a character change, and I don't think he's going to be doing that with the world title. We know how much I love Swerve Strickland. I've talked on this podcast. I think Swerve Strickland should have been the one that was revealed to be the devil, and I would have put the rocket ship on this dude and just let him carry the company for the last couple months. Now, whether they do that now, I don't know. Samoa Joe is also good, but again, Samoa Joe is at a point in his career where he does not need to be the world champion for a very long time.
Hangman is your bet online official leader to walk out with the title.
Good Lord.
Swerve Strickland is your underdog.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
have these people been watching?
I bet they've been watching. Do they know something we don't know?
I mean, look, I love Hangman. Hangman's one of my favorites, but this ain't it. Not right now.
Not right now. Not right now. They've done better with Hangman. When he was the champion, his title reign was meh, to say the least, and then he kind of got forgotten about. I do think they have done a good job here recently showing the audience that this dude is a real threat. Like, he is a legit one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he can be that. Obviously, growing out the Magnum TA mustache has helped quite a bit. A change in facial hair will do a lot for a man, particularly in wrestling. But I just don't see how he comes even close to walking away with the title. I could see a situation where Hangman ends up costing Swerve the title yet again, and they have another, blood feud or whatever.
To put this into perspective, the only person that has worse odds of losing over Hangman is Ospreay.
Because Samoa Joe is the champion, but he's really not the guy that's involved in the story in this match. The story is still Swerve and Hangman,
and that's the sad part. Is you've got the world. This is what I've been complaining about with the world title in AEW forever. When it's been a secondary object, it is never the most important thing in the room.
So I don't know if that, if maybe they think the same thing and they switch it over to Swerve.
Again, the money's in the chase. So if you put it on the bad guy, you got Swerve chasing him.
Well, if I was booking the world title, I think Swerve and Ospreay would be my main event for London in August. Woo! That would be where I would go. Again, I would not to say I would hot potato the world title around, but I would want to do something different that WWE is doing, and I would want to kind of have. Well, I think we've talked about on the podcast once before, like the amount of title changes that happened during the Attitude Era. There wasn't many people that were holding the belt for longer than like 3 months. Even in like the UFC, right? There are not champions who hold it for, there's not a guy that goes in there and defends it for 9 straight times. You usually get caught. Shit happens. So I think I would do that at least for a little bit. So I would have Swerve walk out of this, and I would find my way to, in August, have Swerve and Ospreay in front of 80,000 people.
I know you got MJF back by that time.
Yeah, but let's have MJF. MJF can do his thing with the Undisputed Kingdom and try his best to get those guys over as bad guys, and that can be without the title.
Changing the subject just a little bit, did y'all see the new Jack Perry video? I didn't actually watch it. I saw
a picture of him talking shit and holding up his scapegoat thing.
I didn't see. Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
I figured one of the two of y'all had seen it because that's how I didn't watch it.
No, I just saw that he's in some kind of tournament over in New Japan right now. I mean, he's also dangling out there. When he comes back, I mean, that will at least give him something to play off of. Now, whether he is talented enough to keep that going when he comes back.
Do you think that's what they're trying to do, is figure out, like, if he can switch characters?
Or is he just in the same position that you just talked about with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, where if you don't have the guy that really matters, him going against, what's the point?
True, but he is a point. I think
you could run something with Cage and Luchasaurus with him.
Nobody gives a crap about that anymore.
Yeah, that ship might have passed. I think they're using New Japan a little bit like the way WWE uses NXT, and like Baron Corbin goes down there and does stuff. I think
a rehab.
Yeah, Jack Perry's over in New Japan, and he has enough talent in the ring. The thing he needs to work on is his character development. Well, now you have at least given him something to play a character off of, and now he gets to go do it in Japan and practice and get reps in, and then you can bring him back if he's good enough. And if he's not, then whenever his contract's up, you say, "Hey, man, we tried. Best of luck to you." Doors always open. I
would love to live in a world where he's actually under an NDA where he can't talk about it, but he's actually been fired.
I mean, that would be a ballsy move. I don't think that's the case. I think there's 0% chance that's the case.
But I would love to live in that world.
Because he's a dude that WWE might take a chance on and put him down in NXT. I mean, they've done it with what's his Pillman guy, and I think Jack Perry's more talented than Pillman. But they're, like I said, I think AEW is a place where they're not necessarily great at helping you develop. But if you come in with a name, you're going to have a lot of runway to do things that you want to do. But you have to bring that cachet with you. We can't really help you get to that point.
But again, they're going to spend a lot of your cachet, and only a few of the people that come over have enough money to linger where they are.
That's true. And you ain't Will Ospreay. So there's one. It's real top heavy in AEW right now. Jay White, Ospreay, MJF. Oh, you say
Jay White, but Jay
White's there. Jay White's also.
Jay White is not a top dude in that company.
He should be. Let me put it that way. He should be. He looks like $1 million. He has the carryover from Japan,
and he's doing the Scissor Gang.
Although you want to talk about stories, that I do think that will be a good story when they do that downfall. And hopefully it means that they combine those trios titles and we get the Ring of Honor trios titles off of AEW TV.
Your Honor, I would like to present to you the Undisputed Kingdom. The defense will rest.
Oh, no. This is better. This is the Bang Bang Gang, and like you said, the Undisputed Kingdom problem is that the dude they're going up against is off TV for who knows how long. And they're not. The main leader is in a wheelchair. I think when Jay White and the Guns jump Daddy Ass and Bowens, that much like the way the fans got behind the Acclaim when they were having their beef with Swerve and Keith Lee, which fucking feels like forever ago at this point. Keith Lee's not even wrestling. Who knows where the hell he's at?
Your Honor, I would also like to rebuttal the Dark Order with Hangman Page.
No. Jay White has more talent in his pinky than any of those Dark Order guys have.
It's not about him. That's him, but everybody around him.
And the Guns have a lot of potential too. Although I do think the Guns at some point make their way to WWE.
I don't see how that wouldn't be possible, seeing how who they are and that connection.
They would. I think that,
and I think they would thrive better there.
In the next 2 or 3 years, I think you will have the Monday after WrestleMania. There will be some kind of like cowboy Western music start playing, and out come Austin and Colton Gunn by probably not those names. I don't guess. I don't know how the trademark works because Billy Gunn is still Billy Gunn in AEW. I don't know how that shit works. I mean, obviously Colton and Austin Gunn are not their real names. No one has the last name of Gunn. But
you sure?
I don't think so. Though they seem probably WWE bound at some point, along with like a Ricky Starks.
I did enjoy Cardboard Juice the other night. Did y'all catch Cardboard Juice?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the first time they had done it. That's the first time I saw it.
I feel like they had done it.
They've done it once before.
Okay.
The cardboard thing. Also, Juice, yeah, he needs to come back. Rest up because he's an integral part of this group.
I forgot what happened to him, but I know he's out on an injury.
Fucking everybody. I mean, damn, Omega needs to come back. Yeah. That's the problem, though. Is like Steven always talks about, shit, when you're at full strength, what the hell do you do? Because you got so many damn guys that should be huge stars, and everybody between Moxley and Danielson and Kingston.
They've got all these people out, and none of these guys are stepping up.
That's fine. The Savior's coming. Old Ospreay's about to be. He's all elite.
I just changed the name of this episode. I texted y'all so I wouldn't forget, because sometimes I'm like, what the fuck am I going to name this episode? So, I got my title now. I mean, is there anything else? I think we've pretty much covered all the card for sure. I'm good. I don't need to complain about this anymore. Savior has to have a U in it, right? For this one?
Oh, for the European UK spelling?
Yeah. Spelling?
What, Savior bruv?
Yeah. Savior bruv.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up. Well, by the time you're listening to this, it's Wednesday morning before lunch. I probably won't get it up until 9 or 10 in the morning because I'm not editing tonight. I apologize. But yeah, the three of us in this room will be at Dynamite and Collision and Rampage, I guess, technically even, right? Tomorrow.
Thank you, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff Jarrett. Patrick got to interview Double J a few weeks ago for his day job, and we all got tickets, and we appreciate that. Excuse me. And so there's that happening. Then Friday night and Saturday night over in Florence, the New South Pro Wrestling Heart of Southern 16, the House Tournament is happening. Should be a lot of fun over there. I know I'm going over Friday night. I won't be able to make it Saturday. And then Sunday night is Revolution. So a lot happening in North Alabama with wrestling. And then on the pay-per-view, I got to get my internet hooked up. Moving Saturday, and the first thing I do is make sure the internet's hooked up so I get my pay-per-view Sunday night.
And you get the great Bleacher Report out. So even if your internet's working.
I know. I'm going to be on faster internet this time. I don't know if that'll make a difference.
That's one of my beefs. This is Bleacher Report should disclose on every article they ever write about AEW that they are owned by the same company.
Oh,
that airs the show.
Yeah, I wish they'd stop writing articles and just figure out the fucking out. That helped me. That helped me a lot.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'm gonna have fiber internet. Maybe that'll help. I doubt it. The app still sucks, no matter how fast your fucking internet is. So yeah. And speaking of, I don't want to spend any fucking time on this, but I thought we were supposed to have an announcement about them having some new shit worked out by now, and that still hasn't happened.
With a streaming deal?
Yeah, with a streaming deal.
Yeah, who fucking knows?
It sounds like that deal ain't worked out.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I mean,
NWA has announced they've got some kind of CW deal again.
Did they really? No fake cocaine happening this time?
I think they're just on the streaming. I think they're just on the app.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll wrap us up. Next week should be fun. We'll have a lot to talk about. It should be a fun as hell tomorrow night. Hopefully, get us the good tickets, Double J.
Yeah, we don't know what our seats are yet, so we might be complaining about it next week. But it's also free, though.
They're free. I'm not complaining about shit. Y'all listen to us every Wednesday, sometimes on Friday. Buy a shirt, You can go to tpublic.com and search for either the Alabama Slam or the Alabama Take. The Alabama Take is our network of fellow podcasters. We've got weekly podcasts, book podcasts, Star Wars podcasts, sports podcasts, TV podcasts, etc. You can follow the Alabama Take on all social medias or just visit thealabamatake.com. And we will see y'all next week.